Magic mirror on the wall. Is Prairie the fairest one of them all? I landed it right, didn't I? I don't know. No, but hello everyone, Liam Catterson here with episode number 3 of season 2 for the OA, which is called Magic Mirror, which obviously I assume, unless there's another magic mirror, but it relates to the mirror that was flaring up in the very last scene of episode 2 as Buck's mother called for Michelle, which I totally got straight away. So yeah, I'm assuming we're going to be focusing a bit on what's happening in the original dimension, potentially, if we're returning back there, and if Buck is potentially, if Michelle is a doppelganger for Buck, should I say. So yeah, and they could possibly transcend from one dimension to another through this mirror. Maybe, who knows? But that's my theory. That's what is potentially going on in my head, especially if since I had my theories that Prairie could have Steve and Co. help her out, as she's a bit compromised at Treasure Island, isn't she? But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where things do go. We had a great episode last time out with things developing as Carmen went to visit Dr. Rhodes, getting more info on the sleep thing that he encountered in the first episode, as well as Prairie trying to get Homer to recognize herself. But he can't, because it seems like he didn't transcend from one dimension to another, whereas the rest did. Some got fortunate, some did not, and Rachel ended up being deaded. So, yeah, but I'm really looking forward to this. So with that said, let's get into episode number 3 of the OA, Season 2. Let's go. Is this the real life? I don't know. It's just giving me that vibe for some reason. Oh my god.
With everything that's happened, moving is for the best. A clean start.
So what? Buck was prevented from going to the... Wow. I was just thinking, if my theory does play out right, then Buck is definitely going to be moving, but not the way you were thinking. Real life is glitching. The last thing you need, a vibrating phone. I have a plan. Dutch.
Hey, look, I don't want to argue. Then don't.
It could be obsessive, looking into established media like Homer's Odyssey.
Fine.
We were familiarity.
All scared. Okay? We didn't know what else to do, and the movements were fucking weird. We confused the gunman, he got distracted and got tackled. That's what happened.
I'm still baffled about how the gunman was so confused that it was like, okay, I'll watch this.
College, go to another dimension. Either way, your little bros are fucked.
Yeah, that was taking it a bit too far, Steve.
He's just pissed because he knows I'm right.
You just took it a bit too far, to be fair.
My parents think I'm at a goodbye thing with my...
I need your help.
Is that her brother? You were just in the upside down, okay? I would just get a new room at this point. Hey, it's a good job you're moving, apparently. None of this will happen, so... What in... Whoa!
I'm really...
I was wondering what happened to those books. Her
What?
trauma counselor suggested we get them for her. He thought it might help. If we
Oh?
accepted her story, said or talked about it around the table.
Oh, okay.
So this counselor, he didn't believe her either?
Oh.
I'm not sure it was a question of belief. Talking to you and your friends before she ever got them.
Nice unable to set things
I'm on my way home from practice. I need you guys
straight,
to come
set
over
some
right away.
clarity.
What 3 notes are those, Buck?
B-A.
Oh, nice. Of course. Of course. I don't know. Would they be able to access
When the
any
sun goes
old
down,
mirror?
Rachel will be back. I know it.
She might even say something.
Because what if that
I
isn't
guess I
Buck's
can wait.
mirror?
I'll have to call Amtrak about getting the next train. And you have to call your parents, all of you.
Yeah, no problem, whatever.
Don't whatever me, Stephen. I won't go through all that with your parents again.
Screw his parents. We almost died.
Yes. Honored?
I know who you are.
I was thinking, this is a bit weird. She's inviting.
Don't push
Congratulations, you're all
That's
celebrities.
what she said. Seriously?
Take it easy, Steve. It might be hard going down here.
You said that too.
Ah,
Store, it's just like open badges. Just like
great.
welcoming folks home.
That's blasphemous, Angie.
Well, only if you think God didn't create vaginas.
I'm seeing church doors in a new light now. Thank you, Angie.
Put it over here.
So French is into men, which is pretty great. Makes me attracted to him even further. I mean, it's NSA, but still. French is exploring his sexuality, which is awesome.
I just can't sleep. Like too much in my mind and nightmares all the time.
Here, you want Oxy?
Oxycontin?
Yeah.
I don't
How much
like
you
that.
got?
Ugh.
40.
Oh shit. Oh shit,
But it's
Jesse.
all there, okay?
Yeah?
It's just a fucking mirror, and they all think that we
What
can
do you think?
I think I'm ruining my future.
Or take a leap of faith.
Like a psychic or something.
Being helpful.
Got your whole life ahead of you. Try to just
Leap
Enjoy the
of
view a little.
faith. Exactly. Support it, Steve.
You're totally into me.
Oh boy.
Go ahead.
Oh, oh.
It's not just because we have the
Sleeping
same name.
is
You know, it's
adorable.
like, you watch any of those old Steve McQueen movies, like, that's a man. No? 100%.
God, Steve.
Steve McQueen.
Oh.
You don't fucking...
Oh.
Oh, shit.
Ah, I knew it would.
Steve, it's over.
Shit.
We can still take
Of course it was gonna break.
No.
Did I hit a dog?
thinking bringing that into my house? This is very bad.
Uh-oh.
She'll be looking for a new place to reside.
Oh, so it's gonna be passing that essence
to my house. How
onto
cover these mirrors?
yeah.
There's 2 upstairs. 1 up the hall, 1 in the bedroom.
Shoot.
Hurry!
Just lend them a mirror.
Yes, cover them. Yes. She may give us only the barest scratch. We must be patient. And we must be brave.
It's a lot of waiting they've done. They waited in the church, here, potentially.
Please, join hands.
In the car as well. It's the waiting game. Is it? Woo! Okay, that isn't freaky? No, I would know.
Hands.
Into the...
Going through something.
Into the mirror, yeah? Blue clues!
BBA.
That's you.
So wait, can only BBA?
BBA to go.
Go.
So BBA has to go through, okay. Congratulations! Literally, Rachel's just applauding them, but yeah, congratulations, you've been nominated for the next dimension.
Betty, look away! Stop!
What? I'm sure that psychic wants a refund. Holy shit. This is some freaky levels of shit that I just really, really relish in. I just absolutely loved that. But yeah, so it does seem like that's why she was calling to BBA, because she needs BBA, nobody else. Well, I'm sure given time everyone else will be able to get through, but it only seems to be viable for BBA to come through. But yeah, whoo. So we picked up with everyone in the original dimension for this episode, which was really, really good. It was a nice touch to focus on them, and as well as the next step in terms of how it might connect Prairie's friends to the next dimension, especially now that BBA has won, I guess, the next dimension lottery. Only she can go through it at this point, it seems. I'm wondering, I think that's I'm not so I think it is, but I think the glass thing relates to the house that in the next dimension, which I assume she's gonna arrive in the same way Liam arrived at when because he did not enter the house on the cameras. It seemed to suggest he came through, and it also did seem to suggest he's gone through different like dimensions with what he was saying. So I'm wondering if it is a portal, a way to get from one dimension to another. If Liam managed to come through without entering, it was able to access the house without entering the house. So yeah, it seems to suggest that, but we will have to wait and see, won't we? Yeah, it was pretty decent. It felt a bit slow at parts, especially Alfonso's Grinder hookup as well, which led to the hookups aren't being thrown into the mix with the whole mirror situation. And I thought that scene with the TV playing the message was really, really great stuff to see. But overall, I felt like it was pretty good to touch up upon everyone's lives and how they've been impacted following Prairie's death. I've got to say, that opening shot was heartbreaking. Even though we know Prairie is alive, our Prairie is alive in another dimension, it's still going to impact the present dimension. It's still going to impact Nancy and Abel, and it's going to impact everyone like it has done. So, it's still... I guess it's like the idea of heaven, whenever you believe, if you have your beliefs that someone goes to heaven, a part of them still exists, I guess, if you're gonna throw in heaven into the mix, but they're still in the mortal realm. They're still gone, and it's still gonna impact the lives you touched in the present day. So it's kind of like that in a sense. But yeah, I really liked how the death had an impact on not just the death, but it seems like everything has had an impact and on people like Jesse, which I'm glad that we're getting a bit of development on, because one of my complaints last season was it felt like we got a bit of everyone. And I mean, we got a few pieces of development from everyone, from BBA, from Buck, from Alfonso, from Steve, and then there was Jesse. And I think Jesse only had one notable bit, and that was, I think, with his sister when he was talking about his mother's passing. So yeah, so it seems like we're going to get a bit of development with the drug situation from Jesse, which is great. Not great to do drugs, but it's great that we're getting a bit of development on Jesse, because I feel like he's been a bit underappreciated. So I'm glad that's becoming a bit of a factor. But yeah, I also liked how Steve has developed for me in this episode. I'm not so like, I feel like he has, because he was hurt, and he made some, for me, he made some agreeable points with French refusing to believe Steve's theory about, oh, she's in another dimension. It's all great. Yeah, he still does come off a bit difficult at times, but I think that's part of Steve's character. You can't just whisk that away. But he did have some really agreeable points, and you did sympathize with him, especially with how fast he was driving, but also made some really decent points about the fact that French was already skeptical with those books. It was easier to forget than have a bit of hope. Even though they've been told this information, Steve has this bit of hope, and yeah, so but at the same time, you can't blame French as well. But it seems like we found out those books weren't planted to make Prairie sound crazy. It seems like they were given by her counselor to get her to cope, which makes a lot of sense, to be fair, because I always feel like it's very quick to judge looking at stuff like, oh, this person has books. Wait, what if she orchestrated the story based on inspiration from these books and all of that? And I think it is pretty quick to judge, because whenever, like, for me especially, I'm always very curious to find every bit of information to autism, for example, or I will look deeper into heart murmurs or anything that has impacted me. I always want to look deeper and more curious into certain things. And that's the case with like, you could have this obsession by delving into knowledge on certain things. For this it's a great coping mechanism, but I do feel like there was a few comments that I didn't necessarily like personally. Like, I just feel like the characters were a bit too harsh in some parts, like especially when they were saying, well, she had a mental illness, and in layman's terms, they were basically saying they have this, so it means it must mean their story must be false if they have all of these stories, and that's not necessarily the case, like I've just said. So, yeah, I felt like that was a bit of a cheap direction for the characters to go in, and I was so adamant on the fact that it could be an obsession into looking in knowledge, into looking in deeper, especially with Prairie's connection with Homer. She will want to associate, she will want to look deeper into it, like, as a good reminder as well, like it was explained, this was a great coping mechanism. So this so a reminder of Homer, for example, could settle things in really, really nicely for Prairie. But not just that, though, but anything regarding well, it's not just that, though, from her story. It's the fact that it's an interesting concept to begin with as well, like looking into different dimensions. Yeah, because even if you have awareness that you can jump like different dimensions, I'm sure you'll want to look deeper. Like Hap, for example, like he is so adamant on like he knows how to access well, he has experience now that being able to jump different dimensions, but he wants to know more. He's so obsessive with the idea, which I think is totally normal. But all of these things, like if you've gone through, like if you do have a certain condition, for example, I feel, or if something's happened, I for me personally, I would want to look deeper into these cases. I don't know, that might be just me, but I'm sure there's a bunch of other people who are very curious to get more intel on certain cases that they might have been entangled with. So yeah, but yeah, I do find it pretty interesting as well that they have kind of developed a celebratory status. Like they are now basically low-key celebrities, I guess, following the school incident. Like the cop pulling Steve over, offering his sorrow. We had that worker so eager to let them stay. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to see how everyone seems to be like, oh, I know you. So yeah, but it was great that we got a lot of development on the kids and BBA as they were. It was a chase and wait basically episode, because Mrs. Vu sold the mirror, Book and everyone else decided, okay, well, we're gonna have to make, because it was like a chase to this to what was it called? Goodwill, I think it was. Yeah, it was a chase there. They sold it somewhere else. They couldn't wait in the shop, so they had to go to the church. They had to go to Aunt Lily's. So it was like a lot of chasing and a lot of waiting as well for the like not just the car journeys, but for Rachel to make her presence known. So yeah, like I said, it was a lot of chasing and waiting for the kids, but we got some really interesting moments like between characters as well. So yeah, and it was just really heartbreaking, like for the Johnsons. Like I said, you know that Prairie is in another dimension, but it's still like is heartbreaking to just to feel that heartache from the from Abel. Like I don't think we didn't get Nancy's side of things, but you can probably guess how she's taking things. So yeah, but yeah, it was a pretty decent episode. I do feel like there was also a few jabs at the about the fact that the shooter did nothing. I don't know if it was me, but I felt like this episode threw a few shots at the fact that the shooter did nothing, because that does, I'm not gonna lie, that does baffle me. Like, I'm sure if you had no qualms about potentially shooting up a school, you would have no qualms about a kid just sprinting under the table. They could have a knife, so what do you do? Bang. So yeah, I felt like, I don't know, it felt like this story was trying to ridicule the fact that the shooter didn't do anything, but that might just be me again. But yeah, it was a pretty good episode. There was a few, like I said, there was a few moments of like you felt like nothing was happening, but it was still pretty good to pick up on everyone in the original dimension and their reactions following Prairie's passing, as well as Rachel trying to connect, I guess, the two dimensions, trying to get BB-8's attention by saying she can get through. So it was pretty, and like I said, those final few minutes was pretty bizarre, but it was pretty well done as well. So yeah, but it was a good episode. So yeah, I will see you guys next time then. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my media feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Toodles!